feel so alone. You got to walk in.
I know, dude. It's crazy. All alone for episode 13. Back for 13, and just by ourselves. No wife of mine to make fun of.
I know.
Such a shame.
No poop stories.
No poop stories. I'm sure people got pooped out of the poop stories.
We'll fit one in.
Will we?
No, she'll feel left out.
Yeah, I know. And all the things that have torn me apart, nothing has made me more whole. Covering the good, the bad, and the shit that keeps us going. Straight from the head ref stable. I'm your host, Travis Papa Bear Rogers, and you are listening to A Forest Through the Trees, a cave podcast, here for our 13th episode with the man, the myth, the Amish beard that almost connects, Carl Lemaster.
What an intro. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought, dude, I'm pretty solid on my intros, dude. I got to toot my own horn and stuff like that. So, we promised an episode where we touched on some more taboo subject matter. So, we are here to talk about drugs. All the drugs. How much we're doing, how much you should be doing, where you can get them.
How much you shouldn't be doing.
I'm not going to tell people where to get drugs. But we do want to talk about... all in light of recent matters, and of course, disclaimer, like, this is not an end-all, be-all. This is not telling you to do stuff. This is not telling, like, this is a open dialogue podcast where me and Carl talk about our experiences, stuff that's going on in the world right now of that kind of matter and testing right now. Meets we've done, meets we've host, drug testing procedures, all kinds of stuff like that. This is in no way, shape, or form to say, hey, you should do this. This is always a personal choice. It is one that once you do it, you can't go back, and that's just the way it is, right? So just like my articles I write for Elite FTS, this is not a right or wrong. This is not, hey, you should do this. This is just literally information and stories from us, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, we are not licensed doctors.
No, please don't ask me. I will not respond.
Don't ask me medical advice.
No, this is far from it. So, Carl, I've heard you've updated your Instagram, not with the Instagram handle change, which you should have done, by the way.
I know.
All the way.
I'm so lazy. I'm so sorry.
I know. But I heard you put Natty Daddy in your profile.
I don't know who you heard that from, but yes.
Carl is actually the nattiest of all daddies. He is not.
That is a lie.
And neither am I. So, of course, in this episode, we're going to be very upfront and honest. We will talk about stuff we've taken, I've taken, other people take, not by name. We're not here to shit talk anybody who decides to do that. But let's go ahead and just get into it. So, one of the biggest things, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit on a passing podcast with Natty Life, right? Natty Life's such a huge thing right now.
Right.
And I really took a lot of time to think about this and ponder it, as I do.
Yeah. You're a big thinker.
I think a lot about Natty Life, Carl. If you know me, I am the Natty Daddy. I think about this day and night. It haunts me knowing other people do PEDs.
The most natural lifter right here.
Yes. And if you don't know it, and we will walk through a lot of acronyms today. So PEDs, obviously, physical.
Performance-enhancing drugs.
You're right. Fuck it up already. I don't know what it is. I just take it. No. Performance-enhancing drugs. So PEDs covers everything from even light doses of TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy, all the way to the fun stuff like Tremboloni sandwiches.
The stuff they use on horses.
Yes. Yes. Equibolin.
Yeah.
EQ, the good ones. But, so Natty Life's such a big thing now, and I really think that it's really what we talked about in a couple previous podcasts, where it is your generation you're in and what's popular at the rising time when you get into powerlifting and your influences. I really truly believe that.
No, yeah, me too. I think it's I would argue to say it's not even like the generation of lifting that you're in. I would say it's what you are surrounded by in your circle. Like if you're around a lot of guys that are in equipment and then they're also using PEDs, you're most likely going to be introduced to that pretty soon, like pretty, early on, and it's something that's going to be normalized for you. Yeah,
and I think normalized is a good word, but normalized shouldn't be thought of as like forced upon.
Right.
Because I started, and we'll get into like that coming later, but I started at a later age for PEDs, but I'm also the first one to tell the younger guys here, like Carl, the guys who are 24, 25, of course, like, you should wait, and when you think you want to do it, think again, And then a little while later, you should probably think again. And then if that's still the decision you want to make, like, I always like, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a guru, I'm nothing like that. But I always tell the guys, like, I will help you with what I know, because the last thing I want to see is you, like someone close to me as a friend or a training partner, try to hide something and then just willy-nilly, like, pin a butt cheek and something really bad happen.
Right. Be super
irresponsible
about it.
Yes, I would say, so responsibility and, like, being open and, like, communication, and, like, if you're scared, like, dude, I've always encouraged, like, please wait and make sure that decision is yours and yours alone. Because, again, once you do it, you can't go back. Because when I got into the sport, right, like, PEDs and raw with wraps was, like, the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was the shit. Like, everybody was doing that shit. Mm-hmm. American Pro, like, no one gave a fuck. They're not American Pro. The Kern Open, right? Yeah. The Kern, the Showdown, like, those big meets when they started emerging, like, no one was like, oh, you're the strongest drug-free lifter. No, fuck that. They were like, who's the strongest lifter? We want to see that shit on live stream. We bought our shitty live stream tickets. Like, you know, like, that was the thing. Like, people wanted to see somebody walk out of this little rinky-dink, and we're still using combos, rinky-dink combos, and throw down a huge, scary total.
Yeah, taking out those ER racks.
Yeah, like, the whole rack. The racks were so much smaller than the lifters walking them out. So, like, that was such a huge thing. And, like, when I grew up and I saw that, like, I mean, like, those are the athletes I aspired to be like and who I looked up to, not because of what they were taking or PEDs, but, like, their accomplishments. Like, I always love watching. I was like, man, I really want to. And, of course, any lifter that watches athletes they respect or move that kind of weight are like, man, like, that's what I want to obtain one day. And I think that's really had an influence on me. But I didn't start taking testosterone until I was 29, right? So I waited a really long time. I started lifting when I was, 22, 20, got really into lifting like 22, 23. But I waited, years and years and years of training and years of doing meets Natty, before actually doing, like, pin testosterone. And I think one of the big challenges for me was, as a 181 lifter, I was already having totals in, like, the top 20. And so when I looked at guys that were in front of me, not by great astronomical amounts, like, I knew many of these lifters, had watched them. They were very open and honest about use. Like, it wasn't in that mindset of, like, who's taking what. Well, this guy's in front and he's first, but he's Natty, and this guy's second, but he's, not taking something. It was, the top 10 were all on an even playing field, and everybody was taking something. And it was anyone's, open to fruition to take whatever they wanted, and that's what the top 10 was. And at the top 20, when I'm not taking stuff, I made that decision. I'm like, hey, I'm this close. I know these guys are taking stuff. I want to fight fire with fire. I think I have a real chance to be in the top 10. And then the year after I started, I moved to 198, and I was. And I did that for many years. I think I did that for 5, 6 years in a row.
Right.
And that always made me feel like it was worth it to me. Not saying, like, top 10 is, like, your ultimate be-all, end-all. But, like, to me, that was my personal goal.
Right.
So, I mean, and everyone's personal goal is different. So, listening to this podcast, you could say, hey, that's a really ridiculous and stupid or minute reason to take something. Or you could, be a lifter and be like, hey, like, I've been in that position. I've been that close. Like, if that's the jump I had to make, then so be it. And I knew once I did that, there was no going back. I could never go to the USAPL. I could never go to the IPF or what have you. It was just that. I would always have to compete in untested feds. So that was my decision to go in and take tests. When I started taking tests, I was taking, like, a base of 200 Sustanon. Sustanon's looking at a mix of long chain and fast chain esters. So they're all different releases. So the half-life with how long it stays in your body and how your injection rate of when you have to do it is less, right? You don't have to pin as often. And the steady releases of multiple different levels of that is supposed to keep you on a more even keel, so your testosterone and hormones aren't, like, riding up and down like a roller coaster, right? Mm-hmm. And so I took just Sustanon for a very long time. Now, that being said, with all that, like, I think it's really important, and you and me have had these conversations, especially since you've started taking tests. Because, I mean, of course, I did many meets when I was natural, but, like, I never, it was just the sport and time I grew up in. Like, I never cared that like, kids nowadays, like, your meet has to say, like, untested, or, like, you had to do it with a certain federation to feel like that was the end-all, be-all for a natural lifter, right? Like, I never cared about that. So even though I was natty, I just competed wherever the fuck I wanted to. You know what I mean? And I didn't care if it said natty or, it said untested or tested or not. It just didn't matter to me. But, again, once you make that decision, you can't go back. Obviously, if you get popped, you get fined, you get banned, it's highly frowned upon by everyone. So our biggest thing was always like, dude, no one cares that you're on shit. Just go where you're supposed to go.
Yeah, just be honest about it and where you're competing.
Just be honest and go compete where you're supposed to go. Don't try to take some shit and then be like, oh yeah, I'm still natty. Or like, our big thing I think back then was like, you would see lifters take stuff for a very long time, or even bodybuilders take stuff for a long time and cross over into powerlifting and wait like a year for stuff to get out of their system so it wouldn't pop on a test.
Yeah.
And then they would go compete natural. And it was like, dude, it was like the biggest cop-out. And
sometimes it's blatantly obvious.
So. Yeah, it was such a huge piece of shit move. Now, there was some top athletes that did stuff like that. And again, we're not going to call people out by name. But given the fact that several high-level athletes recently have been, there was one guy that what they say he went 3 years without getting tested and just got popped for tren.
Yeah, he was competing at Worlds. And he had 3 years and he got popped for tren. So, I mean, if you look at pictures of the guy too, it's like, well, obviously.
Yeah. But I mean, with stuff like that, it's like, it makes you wonder, like, and this is, again, I'm not talking down on anyone's choices. If you are a lifetime natural and you are an IPF loyalist, like, there's nothing wrong with that.
You're lifting weights, that's cool.
We're cool.
We love how you lift
I don't
weights.
give a shit if you're raw, if you're in equipment, if you're on gear, you're off gear. I say I'm doing my favorite right now. I'm in gear and on gear. It's my absolute favorite way to lift. It's fun as fuck. Have zero complaints from me. But I think especially with stuff like that, when you see these kind of episodes come up and like people getting banned and people getting fined and the stories of, oh dude, I didn't know it was in my pre-workout. Like, how natural is natural? Like, how reliable are these tests?
Okay, so I want to speak on that earlier.
Absolutely.
You talked about, it was probably like 5-10 minutes ago at this point, but you had mentioned back when you were first competing, you put a little air parentheses around natty competing. What do you mean by natty competing? Were you not using substances that weren't on a banned list at the time that still counted?
Now, see, that's the problem, because when, I'm sure like they're like, as they update WADA and they update different band lists,
that list is constantly growing.
That list is constantly growing, but like back then, was I taking a ma and pa pre-workoat that probably could have had something in it? I don't know.
The
probably
original jacked formula.
Right. And I took the OG Jack 3D and shit. So you know what I mean? So there was all kinds of stuff like that. Like, I mean, you can even get popped for ephedrine that's in like, if you have sports asthma.
Wow.
And you take like, what is it? Primatine, and which is the other one? Primatine's the brown box. I know too much dumb shit about this.
You got the information on it.
But, like, if you took the old ECA stack, like ephedrine, caffeine, aspirin, like, you would definitely get popped for that. Like,
yeah.
Shit, I've taken that when I was having a bad week and I was getting sick from working at the high school from the kids, and I'm like, I got to squat this weekend. I got to be able to fucking breathe. I took that at Freaks. You felt like you could hold your breath for, like, 2 minutes fucking straight.
Wow.
Dude, that stuff's the shit.
No way. I'm learning something new.
I'm teaching you bad stuff on air. I love it. You're like, man, this guy's my homie, and he does know some shit I don't know about.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah, no, ECA stack for breathing and making a meat through a cold. Untested, by the way. You definitely could not do this at a tested meat.
No way.
Works wonders. Yeah. You might still have a snotty nose, but you'll be able to hold your breath through that squat. I promise
crazy.
that.
That's crazy. I do remember that. Remember that.
They were like, is that dude just drinking NyQuil out of the bottle and going to squat? I'm like, yes, he is. That's my man. But, like, no one cares, dude. Just be honest about your fed. And again, like Carl said with the natty in quotations, like, the stricter and more wild this sports gets, like on one side versus the other, and I hate to say versus, but that's truly how it is now.
Yes and no. It is getting more and more separated because, I mean, that's been happening from the beginning. I forget, I've talked about it before, the Fed names. It was like the American something drug-free Federation. Mm-hmm. They split off from the one
it was like AD something, right?
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. It was that federation that split off because they were competing with guys that are using, they're using steroids. And they're like, well, we don't want to compete with you. Let's just go make our own Fed and compete there. And then there's still some back and forth on it, but that was kind of like the start of the big splits in the Feds.
My favorite is the people that make the posts and they were like upset because people were training at unnatural gyms.
Yeah.
Like, dude, did you know a guy who took tren, sweated, and touched this mono handle?
Can't use it.
If you wrap your knees close to it, you might catch the tren. Like, it's airborne. Like someone's using it as like chemical warfare.
Yeah, we're releasing tren through the air ducts in here. So
that's really why the bear cave is special. No one knows it. We talk about why it's special. No one knows, but that's the honest truth.
It seeps down the walls.
Yeah. Carl just rubs my suit before he walks up and does lifts. Hopes the sweat just goes through the skin.
When I'm helping you put your shirt on, I'm just like trying to.
You're actually making gains simultaneously. But like, let's talk about some stuff. So usually the Feds we're going to be talking about when you're talking about strictly, and I think this is good for first time listeners too, if you're not familiar with like different Feds and where to compete. And of course, this is not the complete compiled list of Feds, but usually if you're talking about strictly drug-free powerlifting only, you're looking at USAPL, IPF, and Powerlifting America.
Right.
If you're looking at non-tested with options to test, right? Make sure you know that difference. That hold both meets, or they'll do like a 2-day meet where the first day is tested. The second day is untested, right. Things like that. You got USPA, RPS, PLU, USPC, and of course ABS now is getting very popular overseas, especially bringing some of their stuff. Now they're coming down to Virginia. When was that meet? November?
No.
Or is that next year?
That's next year.
Was it like March? April,
I think
March?
So.
Yeah.
March or April.
Coming down to like Virginia Beach, which is super cool, right? Bringing that kind of energy over here. But the money pool has been looking pretty good, and they really do a big production value and stuff. But again, production value is not everything, and we've talked about that in podcasts.
They also just throw really good meats. So.
Yeah, so good meats come first, cool shit comes second. But taking time off and then claiming Natty is not the way about it. You either are in it or you're out it. And I think if you do something like that, my personal opinion, you should get your ass called out on that shit. Like, I would raise hell over that on the internet.
Oh, for sure. And people have all
the time. I don't believe in cancel culture, but that was something I would believe in for that.
That's just,
I mean, that's just wrong.
It's poor sportsmanlike, too.
Yeah.
It's just like you're finding a way around the rules, and no one likes that,
No. But it does call into question, like, how many of our favorite natural lifters are natural?
I'm under the opinion, this is just me.
Natural till you're caught?
I'm under the opinion that all top athletes, if you're at the top of your game, there's probably something going on.
What's the old age saying? If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
That's right. Except it's not cheating because it's on a, you know what I mean?
That's why and again, we're not trying to persuade you to go one way or the other. I know me and Carl are very biased over here.
Yeah.
But like with untested, it's fair. Everyone can take anything. It's all on an even keel playing field. Right. So it's like everyone's an adult. Everyone made their own decisions.
It's also super easy. You can just walk into a meet, compete, and then you're done. You don't have to stick around for,
you don't have to listen to me threaten you to not go pee before the meet's over, so I don't have to squeeze it out of you like a tube of toothpaste while I watch you go in the bathroom, right? So if you've never done a drug test, Carl said I should probably say something about that on this episode. Of course, there's paperwork you need to fill out with your license, everything. The referee in charge of you watches you fill out all the paperwork. He double checks that. He does the boxes he's supposed to. And then you go to the bathroom together. They have to be in the bathroom with you. Ultimately, the same gender has to go with the same gender. So if I have a male athlete peeing, the male referee has to be in the bathroom with them, and vice versa for the women. You have to be in the bathroom with them or in the stall with them, right? You don't have to make direct eye contact with it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be in there to make sure they can't swap something out, like anything like that. Once they pee into this little cup, it goes to the line. Once you get to the line, you can dump the rest out or just go the rest of the way. They close the seal themselves. You basically let them handle their own urine while you're wearing your gloves and stuff. They get to sign off on the paperwork. You sign it. It goes over the top, around the side, kind of latches everything down. It goes in a little baggie with a P-bib and the folded up paperwork with multiple copies, one going to the Fed, the lifter, and then the drug testing facility in the back pocket. Everything gets all sealed up, nice and done. Double check for all the signatures with the lifter, send them on their way. They can go collect their rewards while you bring that to the meet director and they wrap up the package to be sent via FedEx, whatever, to that facility to have checking. And then when the checking is done, of course, that results will go live. And if things come back negative, then you get your emails with the fines and all that stuff like that for the lifter or bans.
I was going to ask you, like, what happens if it pops?
Now, see, that's what I'm saying but I'm speaking purely on experience from a Fed that runs untested and tested. Right? So, unlike WADA, like, we don't have people, like, pulling up to your apartment and be like, hey, we're here to watch you pee. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the unscheduled, unsolicited
at
drug
like
test.
7 o'clock in the morning.
And we've watched many videos, of course, athletes talk about stuff like that. But our Fed doesn't do that. We pee on spot. We test by top dots percentage by 10%. And usually at a meet around, like, 30-ish to 40 lifters, you'll have, in that range, you'll have 3 to 4 people you're testing. Usually in our area, the girl pool is lower. So usually it'll be like 1 to 2 females and 2 to 3 boys at the most. But usually it's around 3 to 4 lifters tested per meet at like normal capacity meets with like 3 flights. 3 full flights, you know what I mean? So I think that's valuable information to know because it's funny because we'll have, I remember Kevin pulled up here for...
Okay, yes, I do want to talk about that. He walks in here for weigh-ins. It was his first meet, right? Very first meet. He walks in here for weigh-ins.
And this was before I was coaching him. He
Yeah.
wanted to get coached by me, but he was going to do this meet first.
Right, so he's walking in pretty much blind, and he's like, all right, I'm here to get my gear checked, but can I, like, do this whole peeing thing first? Because I've been holding it forever. Like, he had
been holding the pee from, like, for hours, dude.
The whole drive, how long his drive is, like, a couple hours. Like, he's like, man, I really got to go. Can we do this now? I'm like, what are you talking about? You can go. You're not peeing yet. Like, you can...
Yeah, you pee after as soon as you walk off the platform at the meet.
And this is a 24-hour weigh-in, so it's like not like a 2-hour.
Yeah. Also, that's very important to say too, Carl. Many of the drug-tested, I think all the drug-tested federations that are strictly drug-free are 2-hour weigh-ins.
Yes.
Versus untested is generally 24-hour
I wouldn't
weigh-in.
say all of them. I'm not sure on that.
I said generally.
Yeah, most
not
of them.
all, but generally. Just to kind of like talk about that. Now, we did drop another word that some people won't be familiar with. We did drop WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency. Those are the ones that come out with the complete prohibited list via IPF, Powerlifting America, USAPL, and of course, within that list, there's a huge catalog of way more than I can remember, dude. It feels like every time I look at it, it's just pages upon pages upon pages of like everything you can think of. Now, there is TUEs, which we also have inside the untested / we can also do tested 2-day events and these other feds that I referee and direct for, which is therapeutic. Oh, sorry, swallowed the root beer. Therapeutic use exemption, which is going to be like your things like TRT, like hormone therapy, things like that have specific regulations and are under certain levels with a doctor's note. Right, and those come, or things like medicine that they literally have to have.
Okay, can I ask you something on this? Mm-hmm. A trans lifter is competing. They're taking TRT.
Right.
Can they compete in a tested with a note?
So this is something that's a super touchy subject. It's been up for debate a lot. I was part of the WRPF when they were rewriting the rule book for this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the problem was that while we wanted to allow that, how could we dictate the changes in the fluctuation of test levels, right? So like in the way of our thinking was like, yeah, let's say their test is like crazy high, like above their legal limit,
okay,
right? 2 weeks out versus at the end of the meet, they stop taking something and then it peters out. Mm-hmm. And then it's at their level or lower at the end of the meet when they get tested.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, how could you diligently check that
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a hard question, right?
It's
Especially for a Fed that doesn't offer things like random drug tests that just show up in like.
right. That's a hard choice to make.
Yeah.
How do you go about that?
I don't know. I got out of it before it came to fruition. Because
I would think that if you are taking a TRT, even like prescribed, that you would just by nature sign up in the untested category.
Right, and that's what I was doing. And I've actually talked to some of my trans lifter athletes and friends, and they said they had no problem with that. Now, I know there's going to be some people with other feelings towards it,
Sure.
But they're like, hey, this is my decision. This is what I'm choosing to do. If I'm taking stuff that's replacing or adding something that's not supposed, or not, I wouldn't say not supposed, that's a poor choice of words, that is possibly in the view of a sport-like way, enhancing me, right? Like, I should have to sign up untested just like everyone else.
If we're going off a general definition of, hey, I am pinning this,
right,
just the same as this person's pinning that,
like, that is still a
there's
PED.
different reasons behind it,
There
but
is, but
still
it's
the same
it's
substance.
a PED, right? Exactly. So that would be and the way I try to look at it is, what would the difference between, like, let's say it's a very low level of test for the trans athlete, right? And you have your old dude who's 50, who's got red line test, and he's pinning his normal TRT, right? Like, what's the difference between that if they're taking around the same dose for the same reason to elevate their test to a normal, healthy male level?
No, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, like, that's how I try to look at it. But I think it should be, if regardless of what gender, who you are, your age, if you are pinning something, you should be competing untested, period.
Right.
That's how I think.
I agree with that. I just had to ask because I didn't know how as a meet director yourself.
No, it is, and it's a very difficult water to navigate for sure. I'm glad you asked that question. But yeah, I moved away from the rule book writing and stuff for WRPF, like right before that resolved.
Okay.
Right before that resolved. So, don't have any more huge info on that, as I didn't see what went down behind the curtain or like maybe I saw the aftermath, but didn't see like what led to those particular decisions
choices,
So
yeah, it makes sense.
So a couple other things we need to talk about when we're talking about PEDs. We're talking about, when you hear people talk about half-life, we're talking about the time it takes to eliminate some of those foreign bodies basically inside your body. For example, like test E would have a shorter half-life than undecanate and things like that, or like sustanon, because it's a mix of esters. So you're looking at long chain, short chain. Obviously, the short chain fizzling before a long chain, right? So the time, again, that it takes to leave the body versus how many times you would have to inject, like, periodically. Now, I am a huge fan of microdosing. And I taught you microdosing.
Right, that's the direction I take it.
And I will say, I don't think they'll get mad at me for sharing their names on here, because Joe's very open about it. Back when I would be talking to Ben Pollock and why am I drawing a huge blank right now?
Is it who we were talking about earlier?
What's Joe's last name?
I don't know. I don't know which Joe you're talking
Big
about.
Joe. Like, famous Joe.
Famous Big Joe?
Like Joe and Bree.
Oh, Sullivan.
Yeah, dude, I'm drawing
Joe Sullivan.
I'm
Okay.
drawing the biggest name blank right now. Yeah, I was like, dude, I was like,
Yeah, Joe Sullivan. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, Joe Sullivan and me and Ben Pollock, we got talking about like microdosing, and ever since I started to do that, my health has been way better. My blood pressure went down, my anxiety went down, like everything went down, right? And you were pinning minuscule amounts in an insulin pin that would keep your levels like much more stable. And again, you're not trying to ride that roller coaster where you go up, and you're crashing out by the end of the week and all those different things, right? It was on a much more even keel. And usually if you did get PIP, another acronym, post-injection pain, usually it's from the carrier oil. You either A, have a reaction to it, or B, it's not mixed as well, or it's a poorer quality. And it doesn't break up as easy, so you get these kind of like golf ballish, gumballish lumps on your shoulders or your butt cheeks, and they hurt really.
Wherever you're putting it.
When you bench, it hurts. When you pull on briefs, it hurts.
Yeah.
Like, so you will get some pip if you hear somebody reference that. But it's when your carrier oil won't break up. But the microdosing totally changed me. The insulin pens don't hurt at all. So I mean that was a huge thing for me. Again, we talked about absorption and frequency, just like those different things between what you're taking, what kind it is, what type it is, how many times you're injecting per week versus how much total volume of injection you're handling per week. Like obviously if you're doing one injection right a week, you wouldn't want to pick a thinner, smaller, muscular body to pin in. You want something that is a larger muscle body to be able to hold that.
It has more mass to it.
Yeah, like no one's be like, let's pin 1G in your front delt.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
That's
great.
gonna suck. It's gonna suck.
It's probably gonna burn. It's probably gonna have some sort of infection.
You're probably not gonna be able to drive. Your arm will be stuck. Like, but dude, I don't know if you've been to a meet like this, but have you ever seen test suspension?
I have never seen
test suspension is wild, and I'm sure they had some other stuff with it, but I remember. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about some of my first experiences being around drugs. So when I was at an RPS meet, there's a group of guys that I liked them a lot. They were a lot of fun to lift with. They were very, very hype, very, very aggressive. Reminded me really of like the old school like CT Fletcher videos. Like It's Still Your Motherfucking Set.
Yeah.
Like always screaming, always yelling, like the beanies down low.
Loud
like,
and obnoxious.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was powerlifting.
Yeah.
The powerlifting that I remember and love, right?
You want to hold on to.
You can't take that shit away from me. I fucking loved it. And I still do, damn it. Sometimes I get a taste of it. I'm like, those are the days. But I remember seeing one of my boys come out of the porta potty of all spots, like
very sanitary.
Yeah, very sanitary. Probably a great place to do some injections. Out of the porta potty, and like it wasn't poop wafting behind him.
No,
it smelled like gasoline, dude. Like if you had lit a match, that place would have gone up in fucking flames. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is that? And he's like, it's the good stuff. And I'm like,
did he say that?
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? And of course, I hadn't taken anything at the time. And and I was watching the guys take, like, before we started deadlifting, they would take like a tab of Halo.
Yeah.
Like before warm up.
Oh,
so it kicked in by the time they got on the platform. Like Halo, or someone would take like Anadrol.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, and like when you're younger and you don't understand, you're just like, is this like caffeine tablets? Because like I think it's funny too, because when you're younger and you first see this kind of stuff,
there's an innocence behind it.
There is an innocence behind it, because like even when you're younger and you're more like elite in the sport, like, and you haven't really seen it, like you get this visual that all steroids are like this giant needle pin, and it's just like everyone's like, oh, like, or in their butt, like, but they're not. There's tons of oral steroids. There's one that kick in like crazy fast. Like a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
So I'm watching these guys take like tabs and like the little liquid vials and squirt someone and hold it under their tongue. Like I've seen all that shit. But I remember that first time like smelling like one of those. And I was like, what the fuck is that, dude? And then they would like have fanny packs with like sweet tarts in them.
Right.
The special candies. I'm like, bro, those candies are crazy. But like being around stuff like that is really wild. And I don't know. It kind of skewed my idea of like what it's like, what PEDs are. Because I mean, I've seen PEDs go like rough. Like, I mean, when you watch some of those guys doing that stuff and they're like looking like they're going to pass out and it's only like 135 on the bar. And I'm like, bro, you're like an 800-pound, 900-pound squatter. Like, you're not looking too hot for one plate. You know what I mean?
That should be fairly easy for you. What's going on right now?
Yeah, like it's putting a lot. You can see how hard it's working their body. Like, and it's like some of that stuff totally is like it speeds up your metabolism so much too. Like it just looks like a fucking furnace. Like you're on fire the whole time. Like your blood pressure's through the roof. You're beat fucking red. You're sweating your ass off. And it's like scary because you watch people like that. You're like, dude, are you even gonna make it to the opener?
I think a lot of people romanticize it, and then you see it, and you're like, oh, that does not look like something
Dude,
a person should be doing.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. That's such a great word for what we're talking about right now. Romanticize is like the perfect word.
Yeah, because that's what people do. They're like, oh my God, it's fucking awesome. Like, you're taking all these drugs and you're getting so strong. But it's like, there's real life things that go along with that.
Yeah, there's real life consequences. But I mean, like, you look at, like, I think Instagram had a huge impact on it. We always bring it back to Instagram.
Yeah.
I feel like that angsty old man, damn these kids in that Instagram.
Well, I mean, like, it's just social media nowadays.
But it's true, though.
You can tie it back to everything.
Well, because you only see the sexy side of steroid use, right? You see the bulging shoulders, like, the ripped muscles, like, the crazy lifts. Yeah. But, like, no one sees, like, the fucking trend sweats when you're at night. Like, no one's filming that stuff.
No. And if you are, good on you.
Yeah. Like there's not a lot of honest videos and podcasts out about like that kind of stuff. I do really respect Micah. Do you remember Micah put out one about him taking steroids when he was super young, like playing football and shit? I remember that. That was a crazy video. Like, good on him for like being that open and honest. And that's one of the things I've always appreciated about some of the people who have taken PEDs is being very upfront and honest. Like, not trying to hide it, not like brushing it off, like not like I'm like openly in the middle of the gym, but like, hey, everyone come talk to me about drugs. But it's like, if you have some serious questions, and it's in my mind, like I'm not offering advice per se. And again, all this is such a fine line, which is why it's taboo to talk about. It's like responsibility and safety, right? Like I would feel, even though it's not, I would feel at fault if I knew I was taking PEDs and you were thinking about them and you would ask me questions and I'd been like, yeah, I'm not taking anything.
Oh, yeah. No,
like, I would feel guilt. And then especially if you did something wrong, like I could have maybe like helped you or told you or at least gave you a heat of warning or something. You know what
guidance.
I mean?
Just guidance.
Yeah. Like it's not right.
No.
And there's just so much misinformation on there, especially for women.
Mm-hmm. Definitely for women.
Dude, I remember, oh my God, and she won't get mad at me for saying this. I remember the first time, because Jess is very upfront and honest about it.
Yeah.
I remember when she got D-ball accidentally instead of Anavar.
Right.
She got fucking strong.
She did.
She got fucking strong, but she could not figure out why she was bloating up. And I was like, I don't think that's Anavar.
Look at that.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. But yeah, like, the probability, especially, like, I think it's way worse for Anavar. Like, you get some shit that's not what it's supposed to be, which is scary. Super scary.
Yeah.
And especially for women that are taking much lower doses than men.
Right.
Like, a low dose of Anavar for a woman, that same dose doesn't do, like, shit for a guy. Mm-hmm. But, like, imagine if she got tricked into, like, taking, like, a 25 D-ball.
Something way out of, like,
the
realm
something I would take. Like, way, that's terrifying.
That is terrifying. That'd be, I don't even know.
It's like you wake up the next morning, you got, like, back hair. You're like, oh, this is some good shit. But, I mean, and again, we are sharing lots of laughs and stuff about this and being funny because me and Carl are those guys. But
we can laugh about it to an extent.
We can, but it is a very serious subject. And, like, it is, and I think people don't talk about it. Like, it's fucking scary. Why don't you talk about scary shit, Carl?
I was scared. I
know you were scared.
So, I was about a year ago now, right?
You've been taking tests for about a year.
Yeah, about a year. I had been thinking about it for years. I've been doing like my research, like, hey, what is the causation of this? What's like the reasoning behind doing this? And to be honest, I've just been exposed to it for a long time. Not in the sense of like being around it, but like knowing of it. Like, you've seen Arnold, his movies, and looking up to him as a kid, like, oh, I know that's not like a natural.
Yeah.
You just be honest with yourself. That person's not natural.
Right.
All the bodybuilders I watched when I was like growing up, getting into like, weight training, and then seeing like the powerlifting, the big names in powerlifting, and they're in untested feds, pretty much the same as you. That was just like what it was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's like, if there's something I want to do, and these guys are doing that, and I want to do this, well, there's a route for me, Mm-hmm. And I mean, not a lot of people are gonna say like that's a correct way to look at it, but that's that's my route. That's what I wanted to do, and I took the opportunity when I thought it was necessary. Now when I actually came to you when I was like, hey man, how do I do this? and you walked me through the process of pinning.
You didn't crush up the whole vial, the glass bottle, and you tried to parachute it.
No, because I was
wrapped
terrified.
it in a napkin,
I was
put it in your butt. I thought that's how you did it. Don't you just put it in your butt?
I'm pretty sure like the night before I was like up like, oh, dude, I'm stressing over this. Like what the hell is going on? What do I got to do? Am I doing this right? Like, and
because your first one we microdosed, right?
Yeah.
We did
super small dosage.
Yeah.
But I mean, props to you. You don't keep drugs around the gym. Like
never.
Drugs stay out of the gym.
Never.
That's an out of the gym's thing to do.
Shit, dude, we don't even have alcohol here.
Yeah, nothing.
There is nothing of any kind like that here, and me and Jess would never allow it.
And I needed you to show me like what to draw. Where to pin. I'm like, hey, here's my ass. Tell me where this is going. Like,
I remember because we did a secret rendezvous.
Yeah.
I was like, let's do it on Saturday, like later when no one's here and it's just you and me.
And I was terrified.
I know you were. You were scared.
But I mean, I was like, I got to do it myself because no one's gonna be able to do it for me, other days. So I just got to learn how to do it.
Dude, you know what's really funny? Speaking of scared, now I knew you were scared and you acted scared, but then you were fine.
Right.
You had nothing on James Mapp.
I've heard about James Mapp.
James Mapp, I have touched that man's ass way more times than I would care to admit. I remember he would come. He never did microdosing, but when he was still peaking his powerlifting career, he would come over to me in Jess's house, in Jess's upstairs bathroom, and just after work, drop fucking trowel. Just stand there, both his little black butt cheeks hanging the fuck out. And he'd be like, Travis, can you do this for me? I'm like, bro, could you give me a second? I gotta get like gloves on and shit. He was so scared to pin by himself.
Yeah.
And I love that man to death. And I was just like, he'd be like right next to me. He'd be like, all right, just count it down. Like,
what do you say, like 10, 9?
Yeah, you'd trick him and just go on toot. No, like, so I think I did that for damn close to a year.
That's insane.
Like,
You're such a nice guy.
Like twice a week. He'd just text me dumb shit, be like, hey, I'm going to show you my butt tonight. I'm like, no doubt. So yeah, man, like,
I think my first like experience being around it, like and not knowing exactly what it was at meets in like the warm-up room, and somebody's like has like a Zyn pouch, like a pack.
Yeah.
And they open up and it's like Anadrol tabs.
Oh, like the secret, the secret
pretty
pouch.
much the same thing. Like, and I was like,
well, you've seen me with my fanny pack.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I keep the liquid stuff suspended.
And for a long time, I still didn't know what that was in there.
Sure. What's the little packs you buy from Walmart that flavor your water? The Mio?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, Travis just got some really crazy Mio in there. That Mio gives it mad energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, as much as we joke about it, it is scary. And like, I am super glad you came to me for your first time. And like, that way, like, again, you want to show someone the right way to do it. You want to be like there for someone because it is scary, and you want to have all the working parts. You want to have safety precautions, your gloves, your alcohol swabs, everything clean, sealed individually. Like, a lot of people don't talk about that.
I think a really important piece I got to add to my story real quick was the fact that my training wasn't as consistent for a long time, but I really dialed everything in on that end before I made that call.
Yeah.
Like, I made sure that my training was really good for a substantial amount of time, and my recovery was top-notch before I even decided, like, okay, now go. You know what I mean? And I think that's a really important thing to say because a lot of people should take more time to, see the other side of it where, like, you have to have everything else checked off before you check the other box.
And I would say that's definitely true because, like I was saying, I was already in the top 20, and I was dialed in.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm ready to make this next move. Like, this is the next logical step to reach where I want to be surrounded by guys like myself.
Right.
Or, like, where I wanted to be. And I think that's super valuable to, like, again, make your own choice. And it's okay to talk to people about it. Also, especially for you guys who, like, are married and stuff like, dude, talk to your spouse. Like, that's not something you want to hide from someone.
That's a big thing.
Yeah. Because, like, depending on it, like, there are substances, obviously, and I'm sure you've heard jokes about, like, Tren and different other things, that greatly alter, like, your chemistry in your head. Like, you can be very hormonal and emotional and, like, quick to anger. But for me, I always thought, I never had a lot of reactions like that.
Okay, yeah. Go on this now.
But I think, like, it is predispositioned, right? Like, if you're like, think about it like alcohol. right? If you're predisposition to be a mean and angry drunk, right? I think it's more like that. Like, if you're already quick to anger and like alcohol amplifies that,
Yes.
I think this does the same,
Right.
not the same thing chemically, obviously, but a similar effect where if you're subject to that already, it's more of a higher probability that you will be like that when you're on something.
I completely agree with that. I think when it comes to the roid rage, it's really only going to affect you if you're already a hothead.
Yeah. Yeah. Like most of the time when I'm taking something, like Jess will even say she can't tell like I've switched something or I'm on something or I'm off something because I'm always grumpy.
If you're a level-headed person in one style or the other, like if you're always grumpy or you're always like, casual, like it's not going to have the same effects.
I don't get more grumpy. I'm just grumpy all the time. So, I mean, it makes sense though. But dude, let's talk about some horror stories too.
Okay.
So I remember, like, again, I did my own research too when I was like starting to think about it. One of the scariest stories I've ever heard. I don't think I ever told you this. Fucking terrified me, right?
What was that?
I was watching some old video with Pete Rubish,
Okay.
and he was taking something. I forget what drug it was. Might have been either Tren or Turinabol or something, right? And he had gotten like, I don't know if he got gyno or like just prolactin buildup.
Right.
But he said he went to the gym for a session for like chest one day, right? And he's doing dumbbell bench.
Okay.
And he's wearing a white t-shirt.
Uh-huh.
And he said he brought the dumbbells down and they touched his chest and he had like black-green liquid like come out of his nipples,
Jesus
like prolactin.
Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like prolactin,
that's-
like almost like poison.
Oh,
like,
man.
Yeah, like
Oh,
like
jeez.
infection. And I was like, what?
That happens?
That's that you can
That's
you can summon the Ghostbusters monster out of your fucking nipples by taking steroids. Like, and that was the scariest story I ever heard. So then, like, the first time I took tests, like, I was always very cautious about that.
Yeah.
And by the way, the first time I took tests, I got sick as fuck. Test flu doesn't happen to everyone, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I was so fucking sick for, like, probably a week and a half. And the test bloat I got was unreal, dude. It was, like, 15 pounds of solid water. Like, there was pictures of me, like, my face was just round as a moon, dude. It was just crazy weight. And just my cheeks. Like, it was the wildest bloat. But when I started adding, like, something else to the stack besides test, I had, like, one of my nipples get sensitive. Mm-hmm. And I was, dude, I could never forget that YouTube interview clip with him.
You were,
and
like,
I was
thinking
like,
about that the
oh my
whole
God,
time.
yeah, this is me. It's happening. It's happening. I would freak out
You
all
ever
the
hear
time.
like squeezing, like, come on.
Yeah, dude, I was so terrified. But let's talk about stuff that like combats that, I guess. Not all the time, but a lot of people take aromatase inhibitors like PCT, like post-cycle therapy. So when you're coming off heavier drugs and you're just on test, I would, and this is just personal, again, this didn't tell you what to do, but personally, I never think you should just come off test cold turkey. Like, I've had like a couple of my athletes be very honest with me and just like, hey, Travis, I just decided I was not going to take it anymore. And dude, like, emotionally, physically, just plummet, dude, like, downward fucking spiral, hard.
I mean, it's like you just
snatched away
your
everything.
hormones are like, we don't know what to do.
Yeah, like, I was like, you didn't want to, like, wean off of it or something? Like,
Yeah.
or quote-unquote cruise, which is like a
Cruise,
low,
yeah.
like, TRT dose or something with no extra additives on it. But, like, yeah, just come off all the way and just crash out, dude. Like, everything just gone.
I can't imagine that.
And, like, the fatigue, the energy fatigue is, like, insane.
Oh, I bet.
They said they felt like you hadn't slept in weeks. Like, you just crash out. But things like that, like Arimidex or Letrozole, when I had, like, sensitive things, I took cabergoline. Dude, if you ever want to taste something really bad, oral caber.
I hate
That's
that.
another one that
I hate
smells
that.
like if you lit a match in the bathroom, the whole bathroom would explode.
Right.
It is terrifying, dude. It's so nasty. Like, I can't even put it into words. It's not like bitter. I don't know.
It's got
just,
its own special.
There's no taste to describe it. But cabergoline is crazy. But they take that for like prolactin.
Okay.
But dry compounds, right? So when you hear people refer to things as like dry and wet compounds, they're talking about like how much it's going to like dry you out with water retention or versus holding water, right? So dry compounds like Tren, Anavar, Turinabol, things like that are going to like pull water, right? So you get that really like thin skins, like skin stretched over the muscle look, right? Your water retention becomes very low, right? And while the strength gains are like crazy high, like I mean, Trent's real deal. Trent's crazy.
You will get strong.
Trent's crazy. Like
it works.
You add like 20 pounds to your bench in like 2 weeks, dude. It's fucking nuts. It is not fucking safe, but it does that thing.
As any of it is, none of it's
none
safe.
None of it's safe.
But there are ones that are more.
But
unsafe.
if you went on levels of unsafe, this one would be hitting towards the top here. But yeah, so they're gonna draw you out, and the biggest, scariest part about that is while your strength goes through the roof, it's not giving you time to adjust ligament strength and tendon strength to match that muscle strength now, that output. So like, yeah, you could probably bench a shitload more, but can your elbows and tricep attachments handle that much more?
Yeah, your tendons are also getting put through hell.
Right. So you really have to like weigh the consequences with that and like really be on top of everything, like Carl said, like your food, your water, your sleep, because all these things are going to play a huge factor in it. And while we're on that subject, before I get to the wet compounds, this is what I was thinking of earlier, and then I kind of lost it and came back.
Okay.
The misconception about steroids of like you can just take something and you're automatically strong.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
I know so many people that waste so much money on different PEDs that are like super fat, out of shape, look like shit. You could never tell they were on drugs ever, because they're under that assumption that they can just take something and it's automatically going to make them strong and super cut and like high performing. And they don't, again, like you said, regulate all your norms, your sleeping habits, your drinking habits,
nutrition,
your food, like all that stuff. Like they don't manage any of that. And they're like, well, I'm just going to spend X amount of dollars on this per month for a cycle, and I'm just going to blow up.
If I can blast this, then I'm going to put, X amount of my total, and then you end up falling through because nothing else is in line.
Yeah, and unless you're joking, blast should never be a word in your vocabulary when it comes to PED use, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not safe. It's not smart. Like, you're asking for trouble, dude. And the amount of different drugs that are just like liver toxic that accumulate so quickly over time, like, it's just not.
Tell me if this is true or not.
What's up?
Are injectables?
I'll try.
Okay. Are injectables less toxic to your liver than orals?
It depends on the compound, but for the most part, I would say yes.
Okay.
Orals tend to be methylated,
right,
and tend to like build up and enter the liver way quicker. So you are going to get more toxins. Things like really bad stuff, like Anadrol. Anadrol is pretty bad. Anadrol ever gave me anxiety. There's not a lot of drugs that affected my mood, but Anadrol would give me anxiety.
I've heard that from a lot of people, though.
It's and I would say out of the ones I've tried, that was the one Jess could tell was on something.
Oh, yeah?
Because, dude, I'll never... Actually, this story's terrifying. You know me, like, I've always been a good squatter. Like, yes. I like to squat. I've always liked to squat. It's been my thing. Even after I got hurt, I still like to squat. Like, squat's my shit. I like squat. Especially back then, like, raw with wraps.
Right.
I remember, like, my first week of ever taking Anadrol. We're probably, like, 10 weeks out from a meet. Right? I remember walking up to like 300, 400 on the bar at World Gym, back when it was World Gym with James, and just staring at it. And he was like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's only 405. Like, you squat this for like 10. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I can do it today. I'm scared to do it. And he's like, bro, you're like a almost 700-pound squatter in sleeves. Like, you can do 405. It would fuck with my head so much. Like, I would get so anxious to walk up to the bar.
That's wild.
And then you would get under it and absolutely blast it.
Right.
Like, it looked like the bar weighed nothing.
Like you're about to throw it through the roof.
Yeah, but you were terrified.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest feeling. Now, I will say, like, after time, that went away. And then when I, went off cycle and I didn't take it for a very long time and came back to it, I would get it maybe for a day or so, but never to that level. Like when
Okay.
I first got on it, it really messed with me.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Now, I don't know if that's true for everyone. I'm speaking from purely my experience. Wet compounds like duradecabolin, D-bol, MPP, which is a shorter ester of the deca, anadrol would be considered a wet compound. My favorite, my go-to, and I mean, again, we're being super honest on this podcast. And I will say this, I'm sure 100% we'll get some flack for this podcast.
No, for sure.
For sure, because people aren't going to agree with it. People are going to be like, oh my God, these guys are so open talking about this. But like, that's one of the biggest problems about it and why it remains taboo is because no one's fucking upfront and honest about it. So like, dude, I'll tell you my fucking cycle right now. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. And like, if it's for safety and honesty, like I'm all for it. My favorite right now is MPP. I love MPP. It always pulls more water to my joints, my elbows, my knees, my everything feels better.
Which is really important to you right now.
With me, with how many surgeries I've had, that feels great because it cushions my joints. I feel better. Same thing for D-bol. When I take I'll switch between MPP and D-bol.
Yeah, very wet compounds.
And again, wet compounds that are going to hold water in my joints and ligaments, which I personally need. When I started, I was taking testosterone and sustanon, which is the mix of all the different esters. But now, me and Carl both take what?
Just
Test E? Just Test E, yeah. Because I did sit for a little while, but a Test E I really like, especially with the microdosing, because I feel like my levels don't change at all. Like, I never feel off from it. And I think right now I'm taking 200 to... If we have a heavier squat, I'll elevate a little bit, but like 200 to 250 a week max.
I stay pretty consistent at 250 the whole
Yeah,
way.
yes, I knew you were 250 because we were talking about the other day. You took a little bit more than me.
Yeah.
But you only run test.
No, I only run a basic test, nothing else.
Yeah.
And I think that should be said too because you can do a lot off of just tests.
Dude,
less is more.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Yes,
Because a lot of people think you just talked about saying blast and how that should not be in anybody's
yeah,
vocabulary.
you should not be, especially within like your first couple of years.
God no. A very taking the less is more approach if you are going to make that decision is probably the best way to go about it.
Well,
and your
especially
body's
if you're
gonna
seeing
thank you for it.
results.
Exactly. If you're seeing strength gains off that, then what are you going to change it for?
Yeah, like Carl, you've added almost 400 pounds to your total in a year.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of that isn't. Now, we could not directly say, oh, well, Carl took tests, he added 400 pounds. But your training, your everything has been so dialed in.
Right. Like I said, it was when I had everything dialed in beforehand, like, okay, now I can take that. It's only going to, that's just how it works.
You had a good track record. Adding the test was just your gold star on the top of the chart every day. You're punching that ticket every day.
Right.
And it showed. But it's sad because, again, a lot of people, like we said, don't think about it that way and just think it's some magic fucking potion, which it's not.
Yeah.
And it is costly. It's expensive. So, like,
is.
dude, you're gonna waste a lot of money and be real fucking sad.
Make sure your finances are in order because if you can't afford it, don't start.
Yeah, because, again, you don't want to just drop it cold turkey either. And once you start, you can't be like, I'm going to go back to Natty life. That is not how that shit works.
Yeah.
And if I find out about it, I will fucking blast you on the internet. That is an acceptable term of blast. I will blast your bullshit. Yeah, I will call your ass the fuck out. But, like, yeah. I'm usually just running MPP and test. Now, I did say if I went back to just bodybuilding for a while, I would take a low dose of tren.
You would take some drier compounds, I'd imagine.
I would take some drier compounds just because I'm not moving stuff that is heavier compound and like more joint risking, especially like in regards to like squat and stuff like that. Because I've almost made it around the world, both legs, this elbow. This lat, like I'm good. This arm's pretty solid. I'm not gonna talk too much shit. Knock on the wood.
Yeah.
But my right arm's still hanging in there. So again, like least amount of surgeries would be great. Although I will toot my horn for this because we didn't think this was gonna be possible. But bro, One Titty Wonders right now is holding it down.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to take a second to talk about some training?
I mean,
know
sure.
It's right in the middle of it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So training's been pretty fucking good. I'm pretty hype. I wasn't hype. I did sign up for the meet with Carl.
Hell yeah, you did.
It was last Monday, right?
Yeah,
before
the one before. Yeah.
Before our podcast with Jess. It was that Monday I signed up. Yeah, dude, I definitely didn't think I'd be benching back in the sixes, even in a shirt or what have you. But
what'd you take last night?
I took 628 to a floated half.
Right, yeah, not entirely a touch yet, but you're right there.
Well, we were right there, and that was me being very, very cautious.
Yep.
But also you with a great recommendation because, like, dude, I feel like I always have a spot in our podcast where I'm like, just patting your ass, dude.
And you need to stop.
I do. I can't help it. I'm so proud, and you're getting so fucking good.
Are we talking about the call with the
Yeah. You were like, no, you need 640. And I was like, nah, I think I'll be good with 628.
Yeah.
He's like, and you were like, I think you can get it to touch. It's going to be really hard, and it's probably going to hover.
Right.
And you were right on the fucking money.
But we also said that you needed something that it's going to be a difficult touch. You want to have.
Well, we wanted to know where my gap was.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then we were like, oh yeah, 35 or 40 would have been a sweet spot. It would have been a harder touch, but it would have touched.
It would.
That was like right there. So I was super happy with that. 628 shouldn't be happening for a guy with one titty.
That's what you're finding your range without like.
Yeah,
going
out.
balls out for a training day.
Because we have what? We have a chain camber.
Chain? Okay, it's a camber bar chain to a box double in half kit.
Yeah.
Sleeves.
Yeah. But I'm excited for you, Mr. Conventional.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I switched up my deadlift stance 6 weeks out.
Carl decided he finally wanted to deadlift like a man again, and he got a conventional deadlift going now.
So the whole thing was like I've been having these back issues for the maybe past 4 weeks now.
It's probably because you need to stop blasting, Carl.
Yeah, it's all this gear I'm taking.
Yeah, your back pumps are super nasty because of all the Tremboloni sandwiches.
So I just it was like 4 weeks of me just fighting through workouts on deadlifts and getting through like halfway, and I'm like, okay, I gotta call it. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be walking tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I got tired of it like every single week. Like, okay, I can't finish anything. And I was thinking about it on the way to the gym. Like, maybe I should just pull conventional this, DE day. I wanted to get a DE day in before I pulled a max effort because I hadn't pulled in like a week and a half. And I was like, I can't just go in to pull a max effort. That's gonna be dumb.
Yeah, it would be.
So I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna pull some DE stuff, see how sumo's feeling again, see if my hips are opened up, see if my back's not hurting when I wedge myself in position. And I had one plate on there, and I mean, you saw it too. I'm getting in, I'm like, oh, that's not right, and I put it down. Like, you're asking how I feel. I'm like, well, it's not great, but it's not bad either, but it just doesn't feel good. So you're like, well, why don't you try conventional? And I was like, you know what? I was thinking about that.
So what you're saying is we both made good calls for each other this week.
Yeah.
Ah, like a good training like a good training team partnership should.
Right. And you know what? I think it pays a little courtesy to the training that conjugate style is. Like, I hadn't pulled conventional since January.
You mean you trained conjugate and you just got strong all over, so then when you switch back, you kind of could just still do it?
Exactly. The only thing
you mean it works?
The only thing that's like different is like my timing's a little bit off.
Yeah. Just because there's the nature of sumo with the float.
Yeah, exactly. So like I'm working on the timing of it right now, but like I went in and I pulled a chain deadlift single from the floor and I matched my PR from January. So I think we're in good books.
Yeah. So let's give some shout outs real quick. My man, John Flagg, the best flag there is, I would say, arguably.
I think so.
Out of all the men with the last name Flagg, John's a pretty good one.
He's up there.
Out of all the guys I know.
All the John Flags I know, he's the top one.
He's the best one. In both an athletic performance and coaching standpoint, our boy John Flagg sponsors our podcast. Not because he just wants to hear his name shouted out loud, but because he is a great advocate for the sport, competitor. He's our boy. He competes with his kid here at the Cave. I hope he's coming for No Luck 6. I also heard he's getting into magic.
Is he really? I did not hear that.
One can only hope.
You pray for days like
I do pray for days like that. Shout out to Zone, my boy Liam, holding down the fort. We have a new bottle coming out really, really soon here. Of course, you can buy the root beer, the frost, and the blood all over here with our certain hints of flavors there that'll set your nostrils ablaze and take you down to the path of where you want to go with that PR. And then finally, last but not least, Chris Northern. We're actually filming a Supdog commercial. Probably be really stupid knowing me and Carl.
Yeah,
but I did talk to Chris this week that me and him are going to do a Supdog commercial with me and Carl in it this weekend. Non-stem, full stem. We got creatine now.
Yep.
We got the sleep aids.
Sleep aids are huge.
You name it, we got it. Supdog for the DMV, man. Chris holding it down for not only a great supplement, but of course close to my heart because he's holding it down on the Eastern Shore. And sponsors up, and we want to make sure we give that back to him. So please make sure you use our code CAVECAST. Is it CAVECAST 10 or just CAVE? 10. CAVECAST 10 to 10% off and support the podcast and support Chris. So shout out to him. Be looking forward for a dumbass commercial from me and Carl probably Saturday or Sunday. So Guys, we are beyond proud to get the feedback we've gotten for this podcast. This is our season finale.
Yep, we're going to end it for now here, and we're planning on taking a small hiatus until we come back right before we head into our meet.
Yeah, so when we come back, we're going to be coming back early November, right?
The first week of November, yes.
Yeah.
Because
November 7th-ish.
Something like that.
Yeah.
No. It's got to be like the 1st or the 2nd, something like that.
Okay.
Because our meet is on the 8th and 9th.
Right. So, okay. Yeah,
so the
right,
week
right.
of that.
Yeah, we're planning on coming back and starting season 2 with stuff to talk about with us tapering into the meet, basically.
Yeah. Basically going over how our peak went and like our taper, and then, whatever dumb topics we
Of course.
think
It's
of.
always dumb topics. So, guys, me and Carl from the bottom of our hearts want to thank you for tuning into the podcast, for giving us stuff to talk about, for boosting us to do this. It was super cool seeing Delco this weekend. He
great.
personally told me, he was like, dude, I'm so glad. Like, you've done something you have talked about doing for a very long time, and we're actually doing it. And I want to thank you personally for doing this little venture with me, because God knows I've been talking about it, and no one wants to hear me just fucking talk for an hour. So thank you for breaking
You
that
like
out.
to hear you talk first.
I love to hear me talk. No, fuck you.
No, it's been great. I'm having a blast. I love doing this with you, and I think we're I'm just enjoying it. Like, I don't put out a lot of content. I've never put out content like this.
Yeah,
I
dude.
post my lifts here and there, but like that's it. So
Carl's
I'm
on
really-
his way to being a real influencer.
Yeah, okay.
So, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast, for making a place like the cave, giving it a voice, allowing us to talk, allowing to hear about different matters from our perspectives, and just shooting the shit in one shot and keeping it real with you guys. We don't edit this podcast. We just do it what it is, and that's
Right.
what it is.
Whatever it comes out to be is
Do it what it does, and that's what it is. Like, that's our podcast, man.
Another
So,
shirt.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much from me and Carl, and to our sponsors for keeping this thing floating. We will see you guys in about a month's time.
Yeah, about 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, nah, a little longer than that. It's September 30th,
Okay.
so it'll be about 5 weeks.
Got you. 5 weeks.
Yeah, 5 weeks. So, shout out Cavecast Season 1.
See you guys then.
With love and grumpy paws, we out.